Hello and welcome to the Snirt Stopper installation video. Today I want to show you how easy it is to install a Snirt Stopper on the bottom of your garage door. My name is Monty Byer. I am the inventor of the Snirt Stopper, and you will need these items here for the installation. I got a cordless drill, a tape measure, and a very sharp scissor, and the self-tapping screws that come with the Snirt Stopper. So this is the bottom tab that will go underneath the door, the one that has the smaller bubble. The top tab is the one with no bubble and which will have our company logo on. That is the one that you will screw to the door. At this part of the installation video, I want to show you where we'll open the door to a comfortable working height for myself or yourself as you're installing it. So go ahead, my assistant, hit the door. And now at this point, we'll stop the door where I recommend for myself. Okay, perfect. So now you can see here, I'm doing the installation with the door seal and the door at this height. So first of all, I'll establish my height on the garage door by applying the upper tab. And what I'm going to do is slide it all the way over so it just clears the track on the left side. I always work from left to right because I'm right-handed. So what I'm going to do is establish that, and then what I'm going to do is put my first screw in at 6 inches from the end. So just snug, and then when I'll come back and I'll notch out for my bottom tab. But at this point, what I'm doing is establishing my foam height, and then I'm going to pull this material tight, the Snirt Stopper, and then my next screw will go at 12 inches in. You will end up with screws in between. You will end up screws at every 6 inches when you're done. But at first, what I want to do is go every 12 inches. And then at this point, I'll have my assistant come in, and she can help me hold this and pull it tight. And what we want to do is work the wrinkles out of the material from being chipped. So again, the next screw again will go at 12 inches. And as you see, I pull it down. I got my height established, and I'm going to screw it in at 12 inches. You can use the tape measure at this point if you need to figure out your distances, but I've never had to. It's just a really good educated guess. So another 12 inches. So from working from left to right, pulling the material tight, pulling the wrinkles out, this will give it a nice finished tight system and will sit nice and tight on your concrete when you're done. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is determine the length where I'm going to cut off the remainder of the Snirt Stopper at the recommended distance. So I want to cut it so the bottom tab will just clear the tab on the track on the right side. So as you can see right here, I'm going to cut and notch this right here, basically cut this flush, and then I'm going to check it and measure if I need to take any more off. So this takes a good sharp scissor, and I'll get it cut so it actually clears. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to test it and make sure that this track is not. So as you can see, I have a little bit more that I need to cut. So I'm going to take off just a little bit more. Okay, now you can see I'm just clearing that bottom tab by just about a 1/16 of an inch. So at this point, I'm going to put some more screws in to finish this out. Okay, checking again, making sure I'm clearing on the right side. Now at this point, I'm going to take my scissor and notch my tabs on both sides. So you can see the tab on the door. So what I'll do is I'll just cut it flush past that. So the Snirt Stopper will sit nice and flat and smooth against the door. You do not have to notch this tab, but I like to notch them out so they sit flush onto the door and they look a little cleaner. And every door will be a little different due to the manufacturing and how many tabs and how you want to adjust it. But I'll put this one right here. You do not need to screw the final end of this. You can leave that run wild, they call it. But my last screw is going to go right here on this style of a door. Right there. And now I'm going to do the same on the other side at this point. So that's going to be my last of my initial screws of the first round. At this point I can put my last screw in here. And that's all I need to do for my first initial. So at this point I'm going to close the door and I'm going to make sure that my door seal is even, since I only put the screws in at 1 foot increments. Go ahead and close the door. Standing back, I'll take a look, make sure I have no daylight underneath my door, which as you can see, this fits perfect like a glove. So I'll go ahead and raise it back up. I have no gaps, but if I do have any gaps at this time, that's where I want to make my adjustments since I only have half the screws in. So go ahead and stop it, please. So now what I'm going to go do is put the rest of the screws in the rest of the way. And what I like to do is just pull it down just a little bit. So I put a little more tab tension in on the bottom here, and I'll put one screw in between all the way down. So you end up with one screw every 6 inches when you're done. Okay, that's my last screw. So now what we're going to do is we're going to close the door and take one more good look at how tight it sits on the concrete and make sure my problems are fixed with the door seal. Go ahead and close it. Perfect. Perfect fit, no gaps, no nothing.